All right, man. Cheers.
Cheers.
Man, you filled yours up to the brim, man.
There's a reason for that, and that's because this is fucking amazing.
Yeah, that's good.
Oh man,
No, this is really good.
this is probably I would say this has jumped up into the top 3 that we've ever drank.
Well, it's only 4,800 yen, man. So
Yeah.
Looks like we're only gonna be drinking it on this show.
Oh, this is incredible.
Yeah. I mean, it's kizake like you wanted, but Junmai Daiginjo, and it's at like, was it Seimai Buai is like 35%, 35%. So they basically shaved off 65% of the rice grain here. So they took all that rice and then they just cut off 65%. We don't need you. We made this.
I wonder where all that rice goes.
Probably to like animals or something.
So animals are just getting drunk off.
No. It's before they shave it before they like ferment it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like
funny if they fermented it first and like, all right, cows.
here's a fermented. So yeah, cows get drunk. That's what makes the meat taste so good.
Oh, that makes sense. See, it's the circle of life.
People
right
are gonna
there.
think we're already drunk, but we just started. Awesome. What was the topic for today?
I don't think we decided on which one we're going to talk about first.
We can do the one you want to talk about first.
Okay. So, our editor guy, Yuta really brought forth an interesting article, and basically the article said that it gave a list of like what children's dream jobs are. So before we jump into that, like when you were a child, what would you say are like the top 3 jobs that like people wanted to do?
Well, so when I was a kid, back in the early 90s, whatever. I feel like the biggest thing that people want to be was like an actor or an actress. They want to be a movie star.
Oh, dude, 100%.
Movie star, yeah.
Yeah, I would say like movie star. Under that would be like rock musician.
Rock musician, yeah.
Yeah, like I want to be in a band.
Yeah, right.
There were so many kids when I was young that like they always wanted to be a band. Like there was one kid that I used to go to school with every day in high school, and like between freshman year and senior year, he tried to start a band with me 3 times, and I'm just like, dude, I don't know how to play an instrument. I've never played an instrument in my life. He's like, it's okay, man.
Really?
What do you want to play? You can be the drummer. It's not that hard to learn drums. And I'm like, yeah, I feel like it kind of is.
Yeah, drumming is really complex.
Yeah, and so like he would always spend hours upon hours thinking of like rock band names.
Okay.
Come in and be like, what do you think about like Rotting Corpse or like some like edgelord name like that.
Yeah.
And it's like I don't know, man.
This is a bit of a tangent, but were there any like bands that got kind of popular, like from your school or anything like that? From your
not
town?
from my school.
Yeah.
I would say from my friend circle.
Okay.
There were 2 people, actually 3 people who I know became famous.
Okay.
So, one person started her own rock band.
Okay.
And she's kind of like
Paramore?
Paramore? Yeah, man. Actually, no. So, she I think she's still an indie rock band.
Okay.
But she started her own band, and
cool.
she just plays around Seattle.
Yeah.
I don't think she's famous enough that you'd ever like find her, but if you're like in the underground like rock scene in Seattle, you probably are familiar with her. And then one of my friends actually became a famous actor for like 5 minutes.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I don't remember his last name. Anyways, his name is Drew. And as a kid, like he was part of my Warhammer community.
Okay.
And he just decided one day, is like, I want to move to California and be an actor.
Okay.
And everyone was like, what? Because he's always had acting as a hobby. And then but we're like, dude, you're crazy. Like, you don't have any acting experience. Like, what the fuck? And then he moved to California and he became an actor.
Really?
Yeah, so he starred in like some kind of like B-list movies.
Okay.
And he was in commercials and stuff, and he never became like hyper famous, but I mean, still being in a B-list movie is like
that's not too bad in Hollywood. And like, was it like in Hollywood?
Yeah, he lived in Hollywood.
Yeah.
So it's like it's respectable. Yeah.
There was this one band from my high school actually. They were the same year as my sister, who's 3 years older than me.
Yeah.
They made like an alternative rock band called the Venetia Fair. And they played at like what's the major like indie rock, alternative rock like festival, whatever. Would you know what that's called?
Like in Seattle?
No, in the United States.
Oh God, I don't know. I know Seattle is Sasquatch.
Oh yeah, not Sasquatch. No,
yeah.
This was like a full like tickets are $2,000. You camp out and stuff like that.
Burning Man?
No, not Burning Man. Anyways, we don't have to think about it. But basically they were in that thing. But just thinking about rock bands because everyone wanted to be a rock star growing up.
Yeah. It's like I would almost say I would say the dream of being an actor was probably more common than being a rock star. But I think like if I were to think of like a childhood dream, it's like rock star and basketball player.
Yeah.
You know, it's like people wanted to be like Michael Jordan and stuff like that. And or you had your like rock band person, and like those were the dream jobs.
Well, now it's not that much different because on the list that you got,
so it's kind of crazy. So first I'm gonna talk about the list of American kids, right, and then we'll talk about like what the popular jobs that Japanese children like. So according to the article, number one, surprise to no one, is YouTube and vlogger. I don't know why I said vlogger. I think VTuber. That's what I was thinking of. Anyway, so you have YouTuber and vlogger, and I think everyone kind of understands why that is popular.
It's like nowadays it's like an actor now, you know.
Yeah, it really is, and it's like there's this perceived notion of like you don't have to do anything to become famous. And it's like, Arthur, you're a great example. You're a famous YouTuber. Do you have to do nothing and you just make money?
I just woke up one day and I had all this, you know. No. Yeah, it's funny because like so sometimes I just got to tell you, this is my case I feel like is kind of unique because I never really wanted to be a YouTuber. But I started doing YouTube because it was convenient for getting students and for
it's good advertising.
And I never really saw myself as a YouTuber. And when I started doing YouTube, it was still kind of like in Japan, it was almost unheard of. It's like, YouTuber? Why would you want to do that? And in my mind, and even now in my mind, a YouTuber is someone who doesn't want to work. And so they set up a camera in their bedroom and they complain about the world.
Dude, you know, I think things have evolved into that because it's easy.
Well, no, but that's but that's the image of when I started back in like 2013. Now it's like regular TV. Like you have production companies surrounding this now.
But
you know?
they're surrounding a person who's just complaining about things. Like it's gone full circle.
And you know, it's interesting though, thinking about the differences between Japanese and American YouTube. They really follow, I guess, like the differences between Japanese and American TV. Because like one thing that I've noticed is there are very, 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 very few single person YouTube channels in Japan.
Is that so?
Yeah.
Really?
And like even if you do have a single person YouTube show, it's most of the time they're interviewing someone else. Like those are the most popular episodes. Whereas like in the States, it's always someone. It's funny because
it's very rarely multiple people.
It's funny because like in the States you always have, well, it's kind of like my YouTube style that I have where it's kind of close up. It's like chest up, like you see the shoulders. You have like a 24 frames per second, like a cinematic frame rate. Do you know the difference between 24 and 30?
I'm a gamer on a PC. I know the difference between frame rate.
Okay. I just want to double check because some people don't. They don't realize that the soap opera movement is 30 frames per second, you know? But in Japan, everything's 30 frames per second. So it has that feeling. But yeah, it's just, now it's like variety in Japan. It's like TV show stuff now. You know?
No, I definitely completely agree with that. So let's move on. We could talk about this.
We could.
So the next one, which was really, really surprising to me, is teacher. And I got really confused
Was
about
that. Was that for both the United States and Japan?
This is specifically the United States.
Okay.
And this one really just kind of came out of left field.
Yeah.
And like, I was thinking about this, like, kind of like, well, before I met you today, and I was wondering like why this could be. And like my initial thought was, oh, teaching is easy.
Yeah.
But I actually don't think that that's why American kids, like if I were looking at this list and it was a list of Japanese kids, I would say maybe they're thinking like, oh, teaching is easy, right? Because I think the teaching style here in Japan, depending on the subject, can be perceived that way.
Yeah.
Right. But I think actually a big reason why kids in the US might be thinking that they want to be teachers when they grow up is more so that I think in the past 20 years, I think there's been a really big push on the importance of education in people's lives.
Okay.
And so it was kind of too late to really affect our generation and people older, but I think newer generations are kind of looking at educators with like a newfound respect.
Yeah, I feel like the narrative that American teachers are not paid enough is getting stronger. But in all fairness though, when you told me before we started that this number 2 position was teacher, the first thing I thought about was Jack Black's line in The School of Rock. Yeah. Which is, those who can't do, teach. And those who can't teach gym. Yeah. You know?
No, it is true because teaching is always kind of considered like a fallback option. Yeah. Which it's kind of depressing that it's thought that way because you can definitely, like, you said this off air earlier, you can coast as a teacher.
Totally.
You don't have to,
especially in the States when you're tenured.
Yeah. And it's like if you get in a cushy teaching job, like you can totally just get away with kind of bullshitting your way through classes and throughout the year, right? Yeah. You can definitely do that over here too. I mean, you see a lot of like kind of older style generational teachers. The guys are usually in their like 50s or 60s. And they haven't changed their lesson plan in 30 years, and they just kind of talk for 50 minutes. Most of the students fall asleep. Yeah. It's like you get those people, and it's like, honestly, they shouldn't be teachers.
Yeah, and it's like, like, why are you doing this? I mean, I know you're doing this to make money, but like, wouldn't you just get so bored? Yeah. Doing that, Yeah.
But another side of it is like, you don't see the teachers that put in effort, because I think teaching is one of those things where it's really hard to perceive the difference between a teacher who puts in effort and a teacher who just kind of fakes it. It's really hard, especially as a student. It's really hard to really see the difference there. I would say you don't really get to see the difference between those two kinds of teachers unless either you're a teacher yourself or you're working with teachers developing curriculums. That's when you really notice the difference between someone who actually knows what they're doing and is like wants to put in the effort. Yeah. So number 2 is teachers. We with number 3, I think we kind of get into like a timeless classic.
This is still the like the American side, right?
This is still the American side.
So first is YouTuber, then teacher, and
now athlete.
Athlete, okay, yeah.
And I feel like athletes is permanently going to be on this slot because especially if you're talking about a country like America like puts a really, really high value on sports. Like
a big time.
It's
have
like,
we talked about sports culture in America versus Japan?
I don't think we have.
Dude,
that would be a great topic, actually. We should definitely talk about that. Because, like, I mean, to give Japan credit, like sports are. I would say baseball is a big thing here. Yeah. Like everything else is kind of like they have their like niche audiences and whatever, but like Japan's like baseball. Yeah, baseball. And America, it's like well, I wouldn't say baseball is even in the top 3, but like
we talked about baseball culture in Japan versus America. We talked about that, but not sports in general. Yeah. Okay.
So with America, it's like 100% the number 1 sport is football. Yeah. Like you can go anywhere in America and there's going to be a diehard football crowd everywhere. Yeah. Right. Basketball and baseball, I kind of feel like it kind of goes in between. It's like
Yeah.
sometimes baseball is more popular,
Mhm.
sometimes basketball is more popular.
Yeah.
I think at the moment, baseball is just like a little bit more popular than
Okay.
basketball. I think mostly because like LeBron's kind of like, you know,
Yeah.
he's kind of going downhill. Kobe Bryant died, and it's like,
Yeah. Right.
you know, it's just like the heroes of basketball are kind of
Yeah.
fading a
Yeah.
little bit right now.
Mhm.
But you know, it just ebbs and flows, right?
Mhm.
But then it's like soccer's a really big growing sport.
Oh, yeah, that's
in
true.
the
Yeah,
US
yeah.
right now
Yeah,
too. Like, you know, I know Seattle got their own soccer team. I think
Yeah.
like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
A lot of states or cities are getting that.
Mhm.
Hockey's growing
Yeah.
a ton.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wait, like ice hockey?
Ice hockey.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's like there's just such a huge emphasis on sports, and
Yeah.
I think like athletes are still kind of like the superheroes.
Yeah.
And they always kind of have been for
Yeah.
kids.
I mean, they
You
have
know?
like trading cards for
Yeah, exactly,
for
right?
athletes. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's funny you say that just because, you know, I grew up in like the mecca of sports.
Yeah.
Which is like Boston, because we have the Red Sox, we have the Celtics, Larry Bird,
Yeah.
Boston Bruins. They're not like Boston Bruins isn't like an amazing team, but
Yeah.
every day, like a third of the people would be wearing some sort of
Yeah.
sports shirt, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, we could talk about that a lot.
Yeah. So next is musician. And I think
Musician.
that's where we kind of get like the rock band
Yeah.
thing. And I think kind of like for the same reason athletes like kind of a timeless class. Like I think musicians is one of those things is like it's just like sports and music
Mhm.
I think are like the two
Mhm.
like mega popular
Yeah.
hobbies that you're really introduced to as a kid.
Yeah, right.
And so they don't always,
Mhm.
but they can end up having like a massive impact in
Mhm.
your life.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't surprise me.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have the obvious choice of astronaut. 'Cause
Astronaut, yeah.
What child doesn't want to be an astronaut?
Yeah,
like
right.
boy or girl, it doesn't matter. Astronaut's
Yeah.
a cool job.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's such a no-brainer that
Yeah,
you
well,
know,
especially
kids-
in the States, though, because we have like a very like active sport, like space.
Oh, for sure. 100%. Like
NASA.
you know, you learn about NASA from like kindergarten.
Yeah.
You know
well,
what
I
I
mean,
mean?
everyone
And-
knows about going to the moon. You
Yeah,
know?
it's like going to the moon, visiting space. It's like that's so cool as a kid,
Yeah.
right? And so it's just completely obvious that you know they want to be astronauts.
So I'm trying to like see if there's something interesting going on in my mind right now. I want to see if we can take this somewhere. But so the list. So just read the list from top to bottom of the American people.
So here we go. So this is 1 to 5. So this is YouTube and or vlogger. This is teacher, athlete, musician, and then last is astronaut.
okay, and then what's the list for Japan?
Okay, so Japan is actually broken into boys and girls.
Oh, it's broken into boys and girls.
Yeah,
There's not like a general list.
The previous one for Americans was just I think mixed.
Okay.
But I'll read the list because they kind of overlap a little bit. So here we go. For Japanese boys, it's employee, which it's kaishain, right?
Yeah,
It's a company worker, right?
Yeah.
YouTuber, soccer player, game creator, baseball player,
Okay.
right? What's interesting is they split up soccer and baseball player as opposed to just saying athlete.
Yeah.
It's weird that they're a little bit more specific.
Okay.
All right, girls. Okay, you're gonna have to help me because I suck at making this. Pâtissier.
A pâtissier.
Pâtissier. Whatever. I'm not French.
I'm not French either, dude. Pâtissier.
Pâtissier.
In the Japanese, you say pâtissier.
Yeah.
You know. So
all right.
pâtissier is number 1.
Nurse, kindergarten teacher, employee, which is company worker again, and doctor, which really, you know, good on you, girls.
Yeah.
I'm really happy that doctor made the list.
Yeah.
Like,
You know,
I was expecting like the CA cabinet attendant, like
cabin attendant.
like
yeah,
look,
flight attendant.
no disrespect to people who are cabinet attendants, but as somebody who worked at a girls' school, and you know, I still teach high school girls, I'm so freaking sick and tired of every single girl who's interested in English wanting to be a cabin attendant.
Yeah.
And you know, bless my wife, like it's so
She
funny.
wanted to be one, right?
She wanted to be one, and I talked to her about this, and I'm like, you're like, you said you wanted to be a cabin attendant, like your English is good enough and everything, and she's like, yeah, well, I wanted to be one, and then I started thinking about it, and you're basically just a waitress in the air.
Yeah, right.
Like I laughed so hard when she said that. I was like, I can't disagree with that statement.
Yeah, that's what it is.
But yeah, so obviously some of the stuff overlaps here, right? So like we have like company employee, like I think just in general, like company worker is like probably the most common job in Japan.
Yeah.
Like you go anywhere in Japan and you'll find like some company and like people in suits walking to it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's interesting to me that boys separated soccer and baseball.
Yeah, I was thinking, it's funny, like thinking about the American side, because what I was thinking is that almost all of the jobs listed on the American side have to do with being famous or having social clout or something like that.
Yeah.
And on the boys' side, it's similar to that, except for game creator. That's something new. But then on the girls' side, it's like
really like industry, like I'm a critical member in society, but like I'm kind of like the unsung hero.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. No, that's so true.
Yeah.
Something that I noticed also on the girls' side is their trade-related jobs.
Trade-related jobs, yeah.
You have PTCA, which I don't know how much money you make as that job, but
you have to go through a decent amount of training.
Sure,
for that.
I'm sure there's like some amount of expertise that you need to get. Nurse is a very demanding job, and you need a lot of schooling for. Kindergarten teacher is also like you can't bullshit being a kindergarten teacher. They're especially in Japan, they are very strict and selective for who gets to become one. Office worker, you can be a bullshitter. You can half-ass your way as a office worker, and then obviously a doctor is like one of the hardest jobs you can ever get. So it's like, it's really interesting that I really did not expect, especially in Japan where like gender roles are really heavily enforced here.
Yeah.
I didn't expect girls to list like such. Like really demanding jobs. And then boys kind of pick like the lazy jobs.
The lazy jobs are like, the famous jobs.
Yeah.
It's funny though, because I remember when I was young, this goes back to kindergarten. When I was in kindergarten, I wanted to be a carpenter.
Oh,
That's
interesting.
I want to build things.
Yeah.
And then I guess I never really wanted to be famous, but nowadays, everybody wants to be famous, and it's funny because it's like you see that now, especially with social media, because now before you had to go through gatekeepers to be famous. Like you have to perform well enough to be an athlete to get onto the stage.
Yeah, or you have to get like hired on with a producer or something.
And now you don't need that. You just have social media. And so now everybody, and now especially with things like TikTok, it gets super easy to make videos now more than ever before.
Yeah.
And now it's like, I see so many people going down the route of, I need followers, but they're not making any money. And they still think it's a career because they're like, oh, I'll get enough money when I have enough followers. And it's like, well, it doesn't actually really work that way because I played that game for a little while too, and it just doesn't go anywhere,
Yeah.
But it's just funny how like nowadays in our society, everyone's on social media trying to become famous because I guess there's this innate desire in us to become famous most of the time, at least.
Yeah, it's like I feel like we're at a stage in our society where, I mean, obviously we still have celebrities, but like it's not the way it was in the past.
Yeah.
Like before, I would say like, it's easy. Let's go back 100 years, right? You had like the movie stars, the CEOs, the elite, right? And there was a very clear bar.
Yeah.
It's like, you're below this and you will never obtain here.
Yeah.
And now I feel like now more than at any other point in human history, I think there's so much more like I don't know the word. I know the word, but I'm not
proximity.
Thinking about, no, not so much proximity, but it's so much easier to move in between the lines.
Right. Oh, much more mobility.
Yeah, fluidity. There's a lot more mobility in where you can put yourself in society, and so it's like I feel like people's mentality hasn't changed.
Yeah.
I think, if you talked with people, 100 years ago, I'm willing to bet that pretty much everyone you talk to, if you ask them, would you like to be famous? They would absolutely say yes.
Yeah.
But they didn't have the ability to do it, right? But now, because of like social media and stuff, you're able to gain that elite status.
Yeah, and so maybe now that's another reason why people, like, everyone wants to be a YouTuber now. Although it does take a lot more work than people think.
Yeah. Everyone just thinks you can just snap your fingers and all of a sudden you have like 100,000 subscribers. And
there are lots of people who are like who came to me for like ideas on strategy for their YouTube channel, and I asked them questions like, well, who's your audience? Like, when someone wants to watch what they watch you, like what is it that they want to get from you? They're like, I don't know. Like, what are you thinking about putting up? I don't know, just what I did today.
Yeah.
And then, in all honesty, unless you're a really cute girl, no one really cares what you ate for lunch or whatever.
Yeah.
So, but it's funny because then it's just this idea of like they just want to be famous, But listen, I'm starting to sound like an old man. We could talk about that.
Yeah,
this is another topic.
But it's very true though, and I think it kind of follows the same trends as like actor or rock star. It's like the same mentality. What I will ask you after looking at the two lists, what surprised you the most?
I feel like the list for the people for the Japanese lists were more realistic, because it goes back to the athlete versus baseball player or soccer player, right? Like those are specific sports. It's easier to see like what sport, whereas like, oh, I just want to be a professional athlete. It's like much more general. And then on the girls' side, it was super specific,
it's kind of funny. This lines up. I was teaching my junior high school students this week about goals.
Yeah.
And I was explaining to them, because like talking about goals is like really difficult.
Yeah.
It's like a really advanced and it's an advanced topic if you're learning a language. Yeah. Like you usually don't have the ability to really express yourselves. And I was teaching the concept that there's two types of goals, right? There's objective goals where it's very concrete. You have a list of things that you want. And then there's dreams.
Yeah.
Right. And so like a dream would be, I want to be famous.
Yeah.
Right. An objective goal would be, I want to be a professional athlete.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so like I kind of feel like this kind of falls into kind of two different perspectives that you can kind of see with American and Japanese culture of like, I think America is very much in that dream state of like, I don't really know how I'm going to get there and I don't know what I want to do, but this is what I want. Like I want to be famous and I want people to like me. Yeah.
Yeah. And the Japanese one is more pragmatic.
Yeah. It's like, okay, well, yes, I also want that, but like I want it specifically here.
Yeah, right.
And this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
I think what surprised me most, and actually I'm really happy about this, is seeing doctor on the girls list.
Yeah.
Because a doctor, I would say like doctors, engineers, and scientists are stuff that you almost never see on job lists for girls.
Yeah, right.
And like I said, it's kind of it's kind of like one of those old fashioned ways of thinking. Like girls can't be this.
That's more stereotypical.
It is very but it kind of it makes me happy that like you can look at this and go, okay, well things actually are changing because this made the list now. You don't see some like nonsense job like secretary or some dumb thing like that, right? Yeah. So that's great. I'm happy to see that.
Well, no, I mean, I'm happy about that too. It's just like, listening to that list just made me think like, I'm glad I'm here.
Right.
Like, I feel like, I mean, of course there are problems in Japan too, but I feel like people in Japan are more grounded.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends on who you talk to. I'm also kind of like a social recluse right now, so I don't talk to people.
A little bit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like you can't reach that in America, but it's just, I think just the way things work around here, I think fits both of us. So that's why it feels that way.
Yeah.
But
cool, man. Well, I think, have you said everything?
I think
about this? Yeah,
we've reached a natural ending point.
Yeah, I'll see you next time.
See ya.
Cheers.